Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into a chilling topic that will leave you speechless. We're about to explore the darkest corners of humanity, where innocence is lost, and evil takes root at a terrifyingly young age. Brace yourselves, because the stories we're about to uncover will send chills down your spine. These are the most evil kids in the history of mankind. These are the kids who committed unspeakable acts, who stole lives and shattered families, all before they even hit puberty. We're going to delve into their minds, their motives, and their horrific crimes, trying to understand the unexplainable. Get ready to be disturbed, to be shocked, and maybe even to be a little bit scared, because the truth, as they say, is often stranger and far more terrifying than fiction. Our journey into the heart of darkness begins in 1968, in a poverty-stricken area of Newcastle, England. This is where we meet 11-year-old Mary Bell, a seemingly ordinary girl with a haunting secret. Behind her innocent facade lurked a darkness that would shock the world. On May 25, 1968, Mary Bell, along with her friend Norma Bell, no relation, lured 4-year-old Martin Brown into an abandoned house. What happened inside those walls still sends chills down the spines of those who remember the case. Little Martin was found dead, the cause of death initially thought to be an accident. But Mary Bell wasn't finished. Weeks later she struck again, this time with even more chilling premeditation. 3-year-old Brian Howe was also found dead, his small body bearing the marks of Mary's cruelty. This time, there was no mistaking it. This was murder. The details of Brian's death are too gruesome to recount here, but they painted a horrifying picture of Mary Bell's depravity. She had strangled him and mutilated his body, even carving a letter M into his stomach. The community was in an uproar. Who could commit such heinous acts, let alone a child? The investigation quickly led to Mary and Norma. The trial that followed was a media sensation, the world captivated by the idea of a child capable of such evil. Mary Bell, the Angel of Death as the press dubbed her, was found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to indefinite detention. Her accomplice, Norma Bell, was acquitted. Mary Bell's case remains one of the most disturbing examples of childhood evil. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that darkness can reside in the most unexpected places, even in the heart of a child. Fast forward to 1993 and we find ourselves facing another chilling case that shook the world. This time, it's the story of John Venables and Robert Thompson, two 10-year-old boys from Liverpool, England, who committed an act so horrific, so senseless, that it sparked outrage and disbelief across the globe. Their victim was 2-year-old James Bulger, a sweet, innocent toddler who was snatched away from his mother while shopping at a local mall. Imagine the terror, the desperation, of a mother who turns her back for a second only to find her child gone, vanished into thin air. John and Robert, who were skipping school that day, spotted James and lured him away with promises of toys and candy. CCTV footage captured the chilling image of the tiny boy, hand in hand with his captors, unknowingly walking towards his death. What followed was a 2-mile walk during which James was subjected to unimaginable cruelty. He was kicked, punched, and tortured with bricks, batteries, and paint. His tiny body, bearing 42 separate injuries, was found by railway tracks 2 days later. The brutality of the crime sent shockwaves through the UK and beyond. How could 2 children, barely old enough to understand the concept of death, commit such a horrific act? The trial that ensued was a media frenzy, the public demanding justice for little James. Both boys were found guilty of murder, becoming the youngest convicted murderers in modern British history. They were sentenced to indefinite detention, their identities protected by a court order. The case of John Venables and Robert Thompson continues to haunt the UK. It serves as a chilling reminder that evil can manifest in the most unexpected forms, even in the faces of children barely old enough to grasp the weight of their actions. Chapter 3: Jesse Pomeroy, the boy torturer. Our journey through the annals of true crime takes us back to the late 19th century, to Boston, Massachusetts, where a young boy named Jesse Pomeroy was already building a chilling reputation as a vicious tormentor. Born in 1859, Jesse Pomeroy seemed destined for a life of darkness. His childhood was marred by abuse and neglect, his alcoholic father often beating him with a leather strap. By the age of 11, Jesse was already known to local children as a bully, a sadist who took pleasure in inflicting pain on those smaller and weaker than himself. His reign of terror began with small animals, which he would torture and kill. But soon, his cruelty found new targets: other children. He would lure younger boys to secluded areas, tie them up, and subject them to hours of horrific torture. Jesse's reign of terror culminated in the brutal murders of two children, 4-year-old Horace Millen and 10-year-old Katie Curran. Their bodies were found mutilated, bearing the hallmarks of Jesse's sadistic tendencies. The city of Boston was gripped by fear. Who was this monster preying on their children? The investigation quickly led to Jesse, whose history of violence and torture made him the prime suspect. He was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison, becoming the youngest person in the history of Massachusetts to be convicted of first-degree murder. Jesse Pomeroy would spend the rest of his days behind bars, dying in prison at the age of 72. Jesse Pomeroy's case is a chilling reminder that evil can take root at a young age, especially in the face of abuse and neglect. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that sometimes, the monsters we fear the most are not lurking in the shadows, but walking among us in plain sight. Chapter 4. Eric Smith, the Killer in the Park. Our next stop on this chilling journey takes us to Steuben County, New York, in 1993. It's here we encounter the story of Eric Smith, a seemingly ordinary 13-year-old boy who committed an act so shocking, so brutal, that it left an entire community reeling. Eric's victim was 4-year-old Derek Roby, a happy, playful child who crossed paths with his killer one fateful summer day. Derek was walking alone to a nearby summer camp, his little lunchbox in hand, when he encountered Eric Smith in a park. What happened next is the stuff of nightmares. Eric lured Derek into the woods with the promise of showing him something cool. Once they were alone, Eric's rage, simmering beneath the surface, erupted with horrifying violence. He beat Derek with a rock, strangled him, and sexually assaulted him with a stick. The details of the crime, too gruesome to recount here, are a testament to the darkness that can reside in the human heart, even at such a young age. Derek's body was found later that day, his small frame bearing the marks of Eric's brutality. The community was in shock, the idyllic peace of their small town shattered by the realization that a monster had walked among them. Eric Smith was quickly apprehended. During his trial, he displayed little remorse, his cold, emotionless demeanor chilling everyone in the courtroom. He was diagnosed with intermittent explosive disorder, a condition characterized by sudden outbursts of aggression and violence. Despite his young age, Eric was tried as an adult and found guilty of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 9 years to life in prison. Eric Smith's case is a stark reminder that evil can lurk in the most unexpected places, even in the heart of a seemingly ordinary teenager. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we least expect. Chapter 5. Graham Young, the Teacup Poisoner. Our final descent into human depravity takes us to England, where Graham Young earned the chilling moniker of the Teacup Poisoner. Born in 1947, Graham developed a fascination with chemistry, which soon morphed into something sinister. His obsession wasn't with creating, but with destroying. He fixated on poisons and their deadly effects. His laboratory was his home, his test subjects, his family. At 14, Graham began poisoning his family, slipping antimony and thallium into their food and drinks. His stepmother Molly became his first victim. His father initially attributed Molly's death to natural causes, but Graham's reign of terror continued. He poisoned his father and sister, their health deteriorating. His sister's school became suspicious and contacted authorities. Graham's secret was exposed, his home raided, poisons and a diary discovered. Deemed unfit for trial, he was sent to a mental institution. There he continued studying poisons, even poisoning an inmate. In 1971, after convincing doctors he was rehabilitated, Graham was released. He secured a job with access to thallium and began poisoning co-workers. Arrested and found guilty of murder, he was sentenced to life in prison. Graham Young died in prison in 1990 at the age of 42. His story warns that the most dangerous monsters hide in plain sight, their true nature concealed. The Unsettling Truth. Thank you for watching. If you found this video intriguing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more chilling content. These stories, as disturbing as they are, serve as a stark reminder that evil knows no age, no race, no religion. It can manifest anywhere, in anyone, shattering our perceptions of innocence, and leaving us grappling with uncomfortable truths about the world we live in. Stay safe, and remember, sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones we least expect.